Some days ago, President John Dramani Mahama issued a statement scrapping and merging some of the ministries that we have, leaving only 23. Now, with these 7 ministries gone, let me just take you real quick through the 7 ministries that have been scrapped. We have Railway Ministries, National Security Ministry, Water and Sanitation Ministry, and Information Ministry. Well, some have also been added to other ministries. Sanitation is now under Ministry of Local Government. Water is now under Works and Housing. We also have chieftains being part of the local government and information being part of Ministry of Communication. And of course, we have some new ministries, which is the Ministry of Sports and Recreation and Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. Well, what do you think this downsizing could mean for you? I'm here today with some young people, young Ghanaians, to find out what they think about this and if they think that some critical sectors in the country would be affected. Well, let me start with you here. First of all, what do you think about the downsizing in general?
For me, the measure didn't come by a day decision. Yeah. The government in power has understand so much that the workload and the burden, and they know that they could consolidate them under one ministry. Yeah. So I think that it is something that they've critically looked at, and they think they can handle it. For me, I think that the measure is not a bad one because, first of all, the president has promised that he's going to protect the public purse and also reduce burden on the public purse. So I think that it is just a work in that direction. Yeah, so the measure isn't a bad one. It has been critically looked at, and then they decided to do it. So I think it's a good one.
Now, let me come to you. Don't you think some critical sectors would be affected, considering the fact that we don't have railway anymore, national security, we don't have some of them anymore? Don't you think some critical sectors would be affected?
Oh, not really at all, because there are some sectors that they all do the same way. So putting them together means we are going to save cost, save enough by cutting down cost. So it's not really going to affect the country in any way.
Okay, all right, sure. Let me speak to the young lady here. Now, what do you also think about this? Do you think this is for the betterment of the country, or do you think critical sectors are also going to be affected?
Okay, in my opinion, I think it will reduce the cost. Yes, because some of the sectors were not really doing
Anything?
Yeah, so this would actually help. Yeah,
It would help. Okay. What do you also think about this? Critical sectors. Now, we had people working in some of these ministries. As of now, we are not certain as to if those who are working in the ministries that are no more, if they will be given new positions or not. But what do you think about this? It's very drastic. We are now down to just 23 ministries. You get it?
Yeah, so for the 23, I think it's okay. So for everything, there is an advantage and there is a disadvantage. So for the advantage, we can say it will reduce cost because some of them were not working. You see, so there was no benefit. And the disadvantage is
Which ones do you think they were not working?
It's going to be tough to mention. But let me go to
Do you think railway was not working? Because railway is cut off, like it's no longer there.
when you don't have the things like railway, we need the trains to be, and we don't have a lot of trains as compared to other nations where you have a lot of them in motion. You get it. But for Ghana, we have I think it's like one, even the ones that they are not well like efficiently used. You get it. And the demerit I'm going to talk about is that we are going to lose some expertise. You get it. So we have someone who is well trained. He's specialized in the railway business, right? You are taking railway off, which means the person is going to lose his job. And what are we causing? Unemployment. Yeah. So I think that is it.
Okay. All right. What about you? Do you think this is going to is going to help the government govern the country better?
I think the merging of the ministries and cutting down the ministries is a good move for Ghana because we are protecting the public purse, right? So looking at the Ministry of Railways and things, I think it can be taken to Ministry of Transport. And I don't think we are going to cause unemployment because if somebody is working at the Ministry of Railways, the person is an expert. When you go to the Ministry of Transport, we'll have department for railways. So that expert can be taken there. So they can still be agencies under the ministries, which will still function in the same direction. So I think that this merging is a good one because some of the ministries were not functioning like that. When you look at the Ministry of Railways, how many trains do we have? What has been the contribution to the railway sector? So I think some of them, scrubbing them off was good, and merging them. I believe that the president has been in opposition for 8 years, and he has studied the country, how the country has been governed, and he has a plan, a direction, a reset plan. So I believe that this is just work in the same direction. So I believe it's a good one for Ghana.
Sure. But then we also have new ministries, Ministry of Sports and Recreation and Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. What do you think about that?
I think the Ministry of Sports and Ministry of Sport and Recreation and separating the youth from Ministry of Sports is good, because when you look at the Ministry of Sports over the years, they focus mainly on sports, and the sports they focus on blast tax alone. They don't put it, they take something $1 million and all goes into sports. What of the youth development? You see, so I think that separating them, sports and recreation, you can now hold people accountable. Because when you give them, you know that the money is going straight to sports. When you go to Ministry of Youth and Development, there's training youth in digitalization and all that will come under that sector. So at this point, you are trying to decentralize the system. Everybody hold on to what you are assigned to, so you can be held accountable for what you do.
Okay. All right, let me come back to you. What do you also think about this? We have two new ministries. That is Ministry of Sports and Recreation and also Ministry of Youth and Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. That's a new ministry. What do you think about that? Do you agree with him?
Yeah, so for me, I think much attention has not been paid to the youth when it comes to sports. I believe there is so much talent in Ghana. If you look at Europe, most of the footballers are Africans. You get it, but we don't pay so much attention to the youth sports. So I think it's going to create an avenue for scouting. That when someone is playing in a local league, the person there should be some spotlight on that person. You get it, so that they are going to be trained into the senior team. Because, like my colleague said, when it comes to sports, it's always football, and football it's always what Black Stars. There are times we realize that the ladies won trophies and then we don't even celebrate them. Yeah, so I think it is a one in what good direction. And then when it comes to the youth, I wouldn't say it's a bad one, but in everything you do there is positive and then a negative aspect. We are just hoping that the youth of Ghana will be responsible as to every tax that they are being given. Yeah.
All right. What do you also think about the new two ministries that we have?
Oh, I think I support what my brothers have already said. Because when it comes to sports, the main focus has been football. And even football, we don't even put much focus on the Ghana Premier League. We only focus on Blasters, which is very, very bad. It has to be the focus has to be on the two, youth development and then sports. So right now that they have been separated, we will know the amount of money that is going to each sector, and then we will hold them accountable for every work that they will do.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Now, lastly, let me just come to you real quick. Lastly, what policies do you think this new two ministries can prioritize as a young person?
Under the Ministry of Sports and thing,
Yeah.
I think that personally, from where I stand, I think the Ministry of Sports should look at sports development from the grassroots. Sports development from the grassroots. We don't have to go and be begging the international players to come and play for us. When you go to countries like Spain, England, and things, they take their players from their local leagues. Okay. When you go to South Africa, Rwanda these days, they are developing their sports and ministry. When you go to Europe, you see things like Visit Rwanda on the shirt of PSG. That is something in a good direction. I think Ghana can learn from this thing. So from where I stand, I think that Ministry of Sports should look at an initiative of developing sports from the grassroots and the local basis. And for the Ministry of Youth and Development, we know that the president said he's going to train the youth in digital skills and things. So I think that already the Ministry of Youth has a youth manifesto, which was introduced to us by the NDC government. So I think there are lots of policies in there that they can prioritize. So I just believe that we will all hold our integrity right, and as citizens also, we should be responsible citizens and support the government. That's all I think.
All right, sure. Well, We've heard from these young ones on what they think about the new ministries and, of course, the ministries that have been scrapped and the others that have also been merged. Some of the opinion that, well, it should be maintained and is a one in the good direction where the public purse would be protected. We still out here speaking to young people on what they think about the ministries that have been scrapped and others that have been merged. Let me start with this gentleman here. Well, in its entirety, what do you think about the ministries that have been scrapped and others that have been merged?
Okay, I think it depends on the kind of policy that they are coming out with.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe they've been in power before and then they've gone back to think about what to do to, because nowadays Ghanaians are very, very clever when it comes to these kind of policies and other things. So personally, I think maybe they've sat down and they realize that if they do this, it will rather help. So the most important thing is the outcome. You understand? So if per the analysis that they've done, if they think that it will happen or it will help, I think fine. But if it wouldn't help, but I think per the reduction is good. But if they can work effectively, that is the most important thing. Having a number of ministries and they working effectively and the output is higher, that one people will not complain. And you can reduce it too. But if you're reducing it and then still the output or the outcome is not effective, still, you reducing it is not what will make people think you are working. You can even reduce it to 10. But at the end of the day, if what Ghanaians are looking for, if they don't see such, then it means that you're not doing anything. So though it has been reduced, for me, I think they should really work hard, no matter the number. And I think if they come up with something better, Ghanaians will love them.
Okay, all right. Let me also come to you. Do you think this shift is likely to improve governance or critical sectors are likely to suffer?
Generally, a small government is better either way. So I think it's likely going to improve governance because mostly when you have a big government, it becomes cumbersome. And some things, some of the ministries overlap, and then you don't know which ministry specifically is supposed to deal with one thing or the other. So I think a small government is generally a good thing.
Okay, all right. Let me also come to you. What do you also think about this new step? Do you think it's a step in the right direction or do you think critical sectors are likely to suffer?
Okay, I think it's a step in a good direction because as a new government are certain, based on their policies, they know what they are doing. But one thing for sure is it's a public sector. So they have the public value leadership must be focused on the people. And whatever they are going to do should be focused on we the Ghanaians, what we will benefit, the job creation side and other stuff for us.
Okay, all right. Well, we have new ministries. That's the Ministry of Youth and Youth Development, and you also have Ministry of Youth and Sports. What do you think about this? The new ones that we have.
To my best of knowledge, and then as I believe in the inspiration and the quote of Barack Obama, as he once said, he said, we need strong institution more than creation of institution. And then we having a Ministry of Youth, I think is a better way for the youth of this country to have more opportunities in terms of having access and then it being an inclusivity in this current government affairs. So I think it's a better way for government to continue with this project, and then I believe in the hope of this country. It's a great purpose.
Sure. So you agree that these ministries are really needed. These two ministries are needed.
I strongly agree, because without the youth, the country cannot really survive, because most of the energetics are the youth.
But initially it was all together. You know, youth and sports, they were all together. Don't you think that separating them and making them standing on their own is also another, something which is going to be cumbersome?
I think that's the reason why they have separated it, because if it is together, it really make the work cumbersome for the minister, right? So now they have tried to decentralize or try to integrate it. It will really make the work very easy for those that will be appointed or nominated to head these affairs, which I think is a better way to go.
All right, sure. Now, do you think this shift? I mean, we are downsized now to 23. Do you think is a step in the right direction?
Oh, to me, it all depends on the current administration and how they want to move, and the type of leadership the current president wants to exhibit to Ghanaians. So it depends
how he wants to move the direction. As we Ghanaians, we are here to support him.
But personally, what do you think about that?
Me,
You think it was actually he was supposed to downsize it?
no.
Why?
Me, actually, I also like, I'll talk that like you should like have a way of what improving it or like increasing the number, because
Oh, really?
yes, because the higher he creates the ministries, the higher there will be what employment to the people, that's the citizens. So if he find a way of what reducing it in a certain way, a scientist will say maybe it's going to lead to what there will be unemployment in a way. Yeah.
So you thought that increasing the ministries, as in adding more ministries to it, would probably have increased employment in a way?
Yeah, of course, because many Ghanaians, we especially the youth, we are all like looking at the president to create jobs so that we will not sit in the house for our parents to cook for us and eat. We are really to work for the country. So to me, my best expectation, like he should have created more so that
But now he's taking some out, merged some, and we have Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment and Ministry of Sports and Recreation.
so one will talk about maybe he is trying to reduce the cost, but we are not looking at the cost. We brought him to come and do the work, so we are expecting him to use our resources. Though he is looking at maybe the wise way of, but we are looking at employment, because the higher people works, maybe the higher it fed them money and those things, and even increase what the economy when people are really what working. So maybe he is thinking about how to cut costs and those things. That's his opinion, but to me, I think he should have increased it so that it will create job for the citizens.
Well, these are the opinions of these young ones that we've met here today on what they think about the downsizing of government to just 23. And I mean, the new ones that we have. Some of them are of the opinion that, yes, it's a step in the right direction. Others are also of the opinion that he should have added more ministries to it to also create more employment. Reporting for Joy News, I'm Jacqueline Ansama Yaboa.